I'm Trevor Starks. I'm the Aquatic Species Recovery Coordinator, and I work out of the Pratt office for Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. We're here at Neosho WMA, checking up on some alligator snapping turtles that we tagged yesterday to do a reintroduction project right here on the Neosho River. This has been a process of reintroduction of this species up through northeastern Oklahoma, and the last releases stopped right at the state line, so KDWP is kind of picking up the slack and doing our part to get the species reestablished in its native range here in Kansas. I mean, this species is part of our natural heritage here in the state. I'm really excited to be a part of the process to bring these things back and get them back into their niche in the ecosystem that's been vacant for about 30 years now. So alligator snapping turtles within their native environments are really good scavengers. So they're oftentimes consuming and eating dead and dying animals, but also they're fairly omnivorous. So they eat other turtles, so they kind of help keep those populations in check, and also eating mussels, some fish, and they're really good seed dispersers. So all the aquatic vegetation that they feed on and then move throughout the river system do a good job of dispersing those seeds throughout the river. So we've got turtles going in the water today. We've teamed up with some researchers from Missouri State University that have a lot of experience with this species, and they're actually going to be going out and tracking these things to see fates, so whether we have mortality, and also how far they disperse, so where are they moving out throughout the river. So they have transmitter stations at the upstream, downstream, and then scattered out throughout that reach, so they can get really almost fine scale movement data for some of these species to see how far they're moving, where they're moving, what habitats they're using, and also if any of them end up dying. So these alligator snapping turtles were raised at Tishomingo National Fish Hatchery in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. They are kind of the head start facility for alligator snapping turtles. So Darren Riddle, one of our employees, went down just on Monday, picked up all the turtles and drove them right up here to the Neosho wildlife area.
This species was once widespread throughout the eastern third of both states, particularly the Verdigris and the Neosho River drainages in Kansas. We found that the species was restricted to primarily 4 populations in eastern Oklahoma. This was due to heavy industrial and commercial harvest and a lot of building of impoundments, both big dams and low-head municipal dams that kind of blocked recruitment up and downstream for those healthy populations. In the 90s, there's an interest on the part of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to set up a hatchery head starting program for alligator snapping turtles to basically raise the species, take the head started hatchlings and hopscotch them over those dams and repopulate river segments where they no longer occur. So we started that in 2000, did our first release in Oklahoma in 2008, did several releases between 2008 2012 in northern Oklahoma in the Verdigris and Neosho drainages. Unfortunately, along the state line, there are several low-head impoundments that are keeping those animals from moving northward. So through some work through KDWP, we've been able to secure access to our own state lands and some private lands. And we're bringing some of those Head Start animals here to the Neosho River to repopulate some of these segments here. So that's, in short, this project has been going on for close to 30 years, but we're just now hitting that point where we can begin to recover this species that's pretty much disappeared from our landscape. I think anytime that we can recover a species, a particularly really cool old prehistoric species like an alligator snapping turtle, to me that's cool. That is the happy success story. That's a reason so many of us get into the field of conservation biology.
We had these species that used to be here, used to be part of Kansas basically, and now they're not. And trying to get those reestablished, but also it's our job as a conservation agency to conserve all species. I know most people associate the wildlife department with white-tailed deer or largemouth bass or things like that, more sporting species, but we're also charged with maintaining all wildlife species and keeping some of these critters off the endangered species list, or maybe delisting some of these species in the case of some of the mussels and maybe this species. So the alligator snapping turtle is a candidate to be listed as a threatened species under the Federal Endangered Species Act. And some of the work, we're hoping some of the work we do here and some of the work that's been done in Oklahoma can kind of head off that listing and potentially either keep them from being listed or maybe get them delisted once they are listed. I mean, these animals can live very easily over 100 years old. It's possible my kids could come back someday as researchers or wildlife biologists or just part of the general public and see and enjoy these species later on after I'm gone. So that's really awesome to me.